tonight I'm going to teach you one of the little things we do that will give us the elevated marriage. One of the little things we do that will transform your communication. And that thing is the word, the magic word is listen. It's to listen. Listen. L-I-S-T-E-N. Listen. Somebody say listen. Somebody say it for me, guys. I'm preaching with you. Don't fall asleep on me.
Listen.
Listen. Can I get a few more people to say listen?
Listen.
Say it like you mean it. Listen.
Listen.
And then add one more. Say listen, but don't hear, but listen.
Yes.
Don't hear but listen.
That's right. Don't hear, but listen. Because we hear words. Those are just words. But when you listen, you are able to tap into the words. You're able to go, because behind every word is a list of words that are not even spoken. The person listening is able to tap in, go behind the words and know the emotions, the feelings, the discomfort, the insecurities, the displeasure. We can tell all of that if we will what? If we will listen. But what we are doing in most marriages is we are hearing. And when you hear, you don't put value on it. If you keep hearing, your marriage is going to look like the house that is just there. Because every gold that came in, you just saw the gold. But when you listen, you tap into the person. You go behind their words. And you say, I want to experience you. I want to experience, when you said that was a great ice cream, I didn't just hear it. If I listen, I'll go ahead and even ask more questions. Really? Where did that ice cream come from? You know, I want to acknowledge what you said. I want to know how it made you. And I'm just using the ice cream because it's something very simple. People want me to use big ticket examples. No, I want to use something as simple as ice cream. Listen. When your spouse says, baby, I need for us to talk, it is not for you to just sit down and hear and end it. No. Listen. Look at them. Look at the expressions. Look at where the pain is coming from. Look at where the discomfort is coming from. Listen. Pay attention. And listen. How do we listen? If communication, and I'm going to tell you something. People who listen are winners. Great marriages or great spouses are great listeners. People who can master the art of listening, you have mastered the marriage. I'm telling you tonight, if there is one thing, everybody's talking about communication. But Solomon told us the little things in communication. And I'm telling you tonight, if you can learn how to listen, your marriage will taste different tonight. I'm going to teach you how to listen. The marriage will taste different tonight. And that is how powerful listening is. Here, I want to teach you how to listen. Number one, if you look at the word listen, not hearing. Hearing is passive. You remember, hearing is passive, listening is active. If you look at the word listen, those of you who play Scrabble, you can also see that you can change the words, letters around, and form the word silent. So I'm teaching you 3 ways of listening. And the first, and this is all biblical. The first one is listen silently, because listen is actually, if you change the words, letters around, you form silent. But forget about the change of the scrabbling around. But then look at the word. Listen silently. Listen silently. What do I mean by listen silently? If you're going to listen to your spouse, you have to be silent externally. Create the external silence. Say, I am on my phone. That is noise. That's too much noise. If your spouse is telling you about how their day went and you're on Instagram statuses, that is too much noise. You are not able to listen. And if you are not ready to listen, say, baby, I just came from work and I'm a little tied up. I'm going to need some time for what you're saying. Is it okay if I just catch up for a minute and we talk? Do that. We have to create the physical silence. If you are reading a book, you cannot hear a conversation about what happened at the salon. If you are right there on your computer and you are absorbed on what is going on, you cannot hear a conversation about what happened at the mall tonight, or last night, or yesterday. And if we are going to be great listeners, we are going to have to be silent externally. But not just silent externally, we have to be silent internally. Because guess what is happening? We are not listening because there is a lot of noise in our minds. It's playing in our minds. It's playing in our mind. And one of the things that is playing in our minds is, we call it narrative. When your husband comes before to talk to you, or your wife wants to talk to you, and you, instead of listening, you have a narrative. It's a commentary. It's an ongoing commentary that is playing in your mind. It's playing in your mind. And it could be something as simple as, he is selfish. And because you are saying he's selfish, it is playing. It is plain. Yes, you are selfish. I know you are selfish. That's why you are saying what you're saying. Everything that's coming out of your mouth is because you are selfish. You're only thinking about yourself. Yeah, I know. Just keep going. Keep talking. Keep talking. I know it's going to boil down to selfishness. Go ahead and keep talking. And the person is speaking, and the narrative is playing. It's playing. It's playing. There is no way you can hear anything if the narrative is playing. There is no way you can hear it. And then you are hearing the woman is speaking, and then you are saying you like to spend money. You like spending money. So as they are talking, the whole time is, you like spending money. You like spending money. You are too wasteful. You are too wasteful. You are too wasteful. And the narrative is playing. So they are telling you this, and they are telling you this about their day, or they are telling you some idea they have. They are telling you about the business idea they have, or they are telling you something, and all you're saying, instead of just muting yourself, you are going ahead and saying what? I am playing the narrative. You are playing the narrative. As long as you play the narrative, you will not hear the person. As long as you play the narrative, their words are going to be marred. They are going to be messed up. It's going to be all messed up because you are not going to be able to hear them. You're not going to be able to listen to them. But tonight, what I want us to do is that we mute the inner narrative. Mute it. If the narrative plays, you will not hear your spouse. If you are telling in your mind, you don't like me, you don't like me, you don't like me, you don't like me, and anything they say is going in the area of you don't like me. And here's the thing about narratives. I'll tell you about narrative. They fit. The minute you come up with the narrative, it will fit. If you say he is selfish, I'm telling you, everything that he will do will be selfish. So there is no way you are going to hear the man or the woman if you are playing the narrative. Selfish, 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 selfish. If we are going to listen silently, we have to do what? Mute the narrative. Somebody say, mute the narrative.
Mute the narrative.
Do what to the narrative?
Yes.
Mute
it.
Mute the narrative.
Because the minute the narrative comes, the narrative tells you that whatever they are saying is irrelevant. Whatever they are saying, you redirect it into the narrative. You like money too much. You like money more than me. And then it doesn't even matter. Maybe it's a business idea and it's going into the narrative. It's going into the narrative. And because of that, you are not, trust me, and your narrative show on your face. Your narrative will show on your face. The narrative you have about your spouse will show on you. You are too self-centered. You don't care about me. Oh, that's another one. If you think of any narratives you can share with me, you don't care about me. And then everything they are saying is, you don't care about me. 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 And because the narrative is playing, when they talk, you don't even hear them. Or your sisters or your parents are more important than me. Your parents are more important than me. So everything they do, and sometimes they are coming from a very unknown place. Sometimes they have no idea. Sometimes they know it, but they don't even know it is that deep. But because of the narrative, you are not able to step out of yourself to say, baby, I want to hear you. But because of this thing here, I'm not able to hear you well. I'm not able to hear you well. And then here's one more thing. The narrative can be wrong. I know some narratives are correct, right? Some narratives are correct. Don't get me wrong. But you may be wrong. I had a sister, and I hope she's on. If she's on, I appreciate what she did yesterday. I had a conversation with her. She called me about March and told me about her marriage. And her husband had come from Ghana. There was a lot of, things were not going well. Let me just say that. And we were not going well, almost to the point where they were about to separate. And I basically just, gave her a simple advice that, hey, go to him and talk to him. Say, baby, my husband, what is wrong? Tell me what is wrong. And, just talk to me, hear him out. So after we had a long conversation, we spoke for almost an hour, and then I prayed with her and I left it out. So about a month or two later, she sent me a text. Hey, did you talk to I told her I'll talk to her husband. Did you talk to my husband? I said, no, I didn't. And she said, oh my God, but he has changed. And I'm thinking to myself, so that I quickly replied, God is a prayer answering God. Because we prayed, we talked briefly, I gave her simple advice, and then she did that. And we prayed, and I said, God is a prayer answering God. So yesterday, I'm calling some of my Grace family members, and I called her. So after the conversation, I just threw the question, how is it going with Mr. X? And then she said, since the day we spoke, things have changed completely. And then she went on to tell me what happened. She said, I went to him and I sat him down and I asked him to tell me what is going on. And then he said everything. And then I was able to know exactly where he was coming from. Because I tell you, with my sister here, and I love her to death, with my sister here, there was an ongoing narrative that had come. The man came from Ghana, he settled in, and then there's this narrative playing. But when she muted the narrative and said, now talk to me, let me hear you. From that night till today, since March till today, the marriage has transformed. The marriage got so bad it affected the kids. Now the kids love their dad tremendously. They cannot have enough of the man. And that's what happens when you say, I am muting the narrative. I am muting my opinion. I am muting my judgment, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. And tonight, if you can mute your narratives, if you can mute your opinions, if you can mute your judgment, you will see something taking place in your marriage right now. Somebody quickly go to read Proverbs chapter 18. I told you I love Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 2. Somebody read it for me, please.
Proverbs chapter 18 verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions.
Wow. Dora, did you really read that? Mommy, can you read it again? Because I don't think people heard you. This is Proverbs chapter 18 verse. I think she's reading from the NIV, which is what I have. So please read it loudly and clearly so everybody will hear you.
Proverbs chapter 18 verse 2. Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions.
Wow. Fools find no pleasure in understanding. But what do? They delight in airing their own opinion. This is not from the Message. This is not from the Passion. This is from good old what? NIV. The fools, they do what they love. They have no, and I like the pleasure. You see here, they find no pleasure. In other words, they have no interest to understand the other person. And because of that, the man is not going to talk. The woman is not going to talk. You don't understand me. One of the things in the poll was like, my spouse doesn't understand me. And the answer is, you don't have look at the word, pleasure. In other words, it is not something you say, oh, I am understanding you. No, you have to have the pleasure of doing what? Understanding. So how do you do that? You do that by what? Mute that narrative. When you mute it, but look at what the other thing the fool does. The fool takes what? They delight in airing their what? Their own opinion. So that instead of listening, what are they doing? They are talking. They talk about this, they talk about it, and we think that the more we talk, the more we make our points, the more we get things done. No, tonight, if you want to be a great husband, if you want to be $1 million wife, if you want to be a Mercedes husband, if you want to be a Bentley wife, your secret weapon is to say, baby, I am interested in what you are saying. Baby, I have an opinion, but I don't delight in airing that opinion. I'm stopping that opinion. Now you talk. I'm not hearing you, but I'm what? I am listening to you. I'm listening to you silently.